Yesterday, a judge decided to move Brian Kohberger's trial out of Latah County. Now, he's the man charged for the murder of 4 University of Idaho students. Right now, we have Bonneville prosecuting attorney Randy Neal and defense attorney Steve Mickle here to talk about the process of how it works in moving a trial and what could come next. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Thank you.
All right, so how often does a change of venue happen in these cases?
Very rarely. You know, the preference, the strong preference is that the community should be able to judge its own. And so you have to show, it's a pretty high burden to try to show that the jury pool would be so tainted you can't get a fair trial.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And Steve, what are some reasons why the defense pushes so hard for trials to be moved, especially a high-profile case?
Well, there's so much media coverage and so much focus and a lot of emotion, and it's hard to pick a jury from a fair and impartial jury from a group of people that have constantly been told about this case and may have made up their opinions already.
And so that very much matters as you're defending a client then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we've heard and seen in court documents that Bonneville County was surveyed and mentioned as a potential option. Now, is Bonneville County, Randy, equipped for a trial as big as this one could be?
Yeah, I think that there's probably 4 or 5 courthouses in Idaho that could handle something like this. And of course, Bonneville could handle this. It's so far away, though. I think it's kind of unlikely they would move a trial. I mean, we're almost literally as far from that location as you can get in the state. Yeah. So, and then the jury pool is much bigger, I guess, in some of the bigger counties like Canyon or Ada. So, I think those factors kind of weigh against it coming to Bonneville.
So you think Ada and Canyon could be kind of the first options for them to consider? Yeah,
Ada has 3 times as many people to choose from. Canyon's pretty close, so I think they're probably, and they've shown they can handle these kind of big cases, you know, and media attention and all that before.
So in your opinion, it's kind of unlikely for that case to come here then?
Yeah, so in some cases, these small prosecuting attorneys' offices are going to have half of their staff in the new venue for 2 months, and so to be that far away, I think it puts a real burden on both the defense and the prosecution.
So there's been no decision on where this trial is going to be moved yet. So what happens next in the courts? How do they end up picking where they're going to hold the trial? Because it's a big decision.
Well, we've talked about it. It's the Supreme Court will informally meet and decide where they feel the best venue is and most qualified jurists, and they're all qualified and could do
right.
it, but where they think it would be best suited, and the court personnel, and we've had the Bell and the Vallow trial over in Boise, and they're very well suited for that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the judge talked about, I mean, there's a possibility of having a different judge assigned, but
why does that surprise you?
I was surprised with that too. Usually the district judge will stay with that case. But he left open the idea, he didn't say he would keep it, so it's up to the Supremes, I call them the Supremes, the Supreme Court to make that decision.
And so, I mean, usually they stay with those cases, so why was that so surprising that, you know, he might, I mean, does the judge have that decision if he wants to step away, or is that all up to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if the judge can suggest that there's a reason that he shouldn't continue with the case, but you've got a judge who has started with this, I mean, months and months ago, and so he knows the motions and he knows the various issues that have been presented so far.
Yeah.
But we don't have any specific insight into this case.
Right.
And we're pretty much just talking in generalities. Judge put out an order about what we can talk about, and procedure is basically what we're limited to. And so, yeah, specific insight into this particular case, I'm not aware of anything that's been put out there that would suggest that the judge doesn't want to continue,
yeah.
but he did state it was a possibility.
It's very interesting. And so could this end up delaying the trial?
I would think so.
You think it could?
Because you're going to have other judges having their own schedules if they gave it to another judge, and I would say there would be a good chance that there's some delay going to occur.
Now, if the judge does choose to stay or does happen to stay with this case, even just the change of venue, could that possibly delay the trial, or would that just kind of go as scheduled, do you think?
Well, my understanding is it's not set yet. So, yeah, to move all of the parties to a new location and have those parties have to logistically figure out where they're going to live for a couple of months.
Right.
I mean, that was what happened in these last two big trials, is that you were literally moving staff from both the prosecutor's office, the law enforcement agencies, and they were actually pretty much living in that new venue for a couple of months. Defense has the same issues, and so that takes time to get set up.
It's not an easy process.
No, and expensive too. And,
yeah.
And then you also have the question of courthouse security that they'll have to deal with. And again, that's very expensive. I think we're set up to do something like that, but yeah, a bigger county with more resources certainly has the leg up for providing that kind of security and having that kind of impact on their courthouse.
I agree.
Well, it was very interesting to hear this insight. Gentlemen, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
All right, we'll be right back.